Hello, welcome back. I want to read something. This is what the manifesto of the ships that were coming over around the previous century before. And this might surprise you. This should trigger you very much, and I will enjoy it. And it's got the name of the captain of the SS, named the ship here, from the date. Do solemnly, sincerely, and truly, I think that's swear, that I have made a personal examination of each and all the passengers named on the foregoing lists or manifest sheets, 30 in number. So it's not 30 people, it's 30 sheets of names of the passengers on the ship. And if I remember correctly, I think each sheet may have listed about 25 to 30 people. So there's that. And that I have caused the surgeon of said vessel. I have caused the surgeon of said vessel sailing therewith, or the surgeon employed by the owners thereof. They wrote this so funny back then. To make a physical examination of each said passengers, and thus from my personal inspection and the report of said surgeon, and it's always with a capital S for the surgeon, I believe that no one of said passengers is an idiot or insane person or a pauper, or likely to become a public charge, or suffering from a loathsome or dangerous contagious disease, or a person who has been convicted of a felony, or other infamous crimes or misdemeanors involving moral turpitude, or a polygamist, or under a contract or agreement, express or implied, to perform labor in the United States, except such as are expressly accepted under the law. And that also, according to the best of my knowledge and behest or behef, there's a blotch right there, the information in said list or manifest concerning each of said passengers' name thereof is correct and true. And he dated again and signed it again with really big wavy lines. Sworn to me before this day of 1903. Wow. And you're not going to find my last name on this, because when he came over to the States, he was going to buy his mother's parents' last name. Before he realized who he really was. Long story on that, but that's personal. I won't go there. But interesting. Let's go on to the next sheet. Think about what we're going through now, and the Democrats are like, oh, just let them in. We're going to give them TPS. And there is no illegal immigrant. That is a bad word. That is a four-letter word. They are immigrants. And there is nothing, and we're going to make sure that they have money and a job, and even Pelosi was like, well, we need people to do our fields in the South. Oh, so let's find you a plantation, Pelosi, and you can let the Mexicans till your fields. Oh, that's a good look it up. It's around there somewhere in the depths. And it's got the name of the person, and they signed it. My ancestor, and this is for a county here in the state of Alabama. Do solemnly declare that I am about their age, years of age, a native of the country they were from, and they hand wrote it in here. It's in cursive. And at present a resident of this county of said state, and that it is my intention, bona fide, to become a citizen of the United States and to renounce forever all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, I'm butchering it, state or sovereignty, whatever, and in particularly and it's got the Emperor of Austria here and his actual name. What's the little ditty my grandfather told me? Kaiser Bill went up the hill to take a peek at France. Kaiser Bill came down the hill with bullets in his pants. Anyway, so the Emperor of Austria, whereof I am now at present a subject. Subject of what? A citizen of the U.S. He's now pretty much free from the reign of this emperor or the kingdom or sovereignty of this other country. We don't do this anymore. So it's a certificate of foregoing declaration or a declaration of intention sheet. They didn't do this very often. This goes back to 1892. So this was my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, and the manifest, which was the first page of the manifest, or the last page. I can't remember which. That was of my great-grandfather. So these are two different people in two different situations, letting you know that they really went through a lot in detail in what they were writing to sort of vet people as they came through to the States. I don't see this anymore. And they kind of, I don't know about this, it's a paragraph, paragraph right here, that I read about, the captain of the ship making sure no one had disease or were stupid or falling over their two left feet or whatever to be able to embark on their ship or get off the ship to get in, to step on the land, etc. Per se. But then the Declaration of Intention, we need this. We have a lot of youngsters that don't believe in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And there's a reason for that. Because when we pledge allegiance to the flag, there's nothing evil intent there. There's nothing mean. It's not about how bad our country is. Oh, it's just evil. Oh, we can't do this. Let's kneel. Let's not do it anymore because America's No. When you pledge allegiance to that flag, you're pledging allegiance to everyone around you. You're acknowledging the authority of the police. You're acknowledging the authority of teachers, of your parents, of God, of your state, of your government. And your gratification of the abilities that you have in your own country that other countries don't have. They don't. They abhor our Constitution. They can't stand our Constitution. The Democrats don't like our Constitution either because it restricts them from things they want to do to us. They want to take away 2A and all sorts of stuff. They're attacking our freedom of speech online. They cannot stand what Elon has done with Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, etc. It's now X, I guess. But, they want to be in control. They want to control our purse strings. They want to be able to, like what's his face, Trudeau in Canada did, turn off the bank accounts of anyone that decides to rebel against the government with the truckers. Oh, you're going to do this against me and I'm going to turn off your bank account. Or how mysteriously all of Trump's social media just disappeared. What was it, the beginning of 2021 or into 2020, somewhere around there, just all on the same day, about the same time, across multiple platforms. No, nothing to say here. Definitely not anymore. We're going to shut him up, whether you like him or not. That's control. That's control of the power of the town hall, because that's what online media has become. It gives us each a voice, whether you want to hear it or not, or believe it or not. So what? We should each be able to have that opinion and be able to express that opinion, whether you're using your real name or a fake name or whatever. Go back to Sega, no, not Sega ages, GameFAQs. There might still be some doodlinger posts in there. There's a history there. No, I wasn't that dude. I'm too old to be that dude. And he got in big trouble because he was saying some raunchy stuff, some bad stuff, and it wasn't good. And the cops had to get involved, which was unusual for even back then. I thought it was at the late 90s or early 2000s. There's some neat history right there. Should have he been allowed to do that? He was like a teenager. I'm definitely too old to be that guy. But yeah, declaration of intention. There's a reason why we pledge allegiance to the flag. Because we're able to do it. We're able to do so. It may be all symbolism, and even Rush Limbaugh didn't like putting too much stock in symbolism himself. I remember him saying that on the radio. And yeah, people may frown upon people kneeling at the pledge and not doing it. But no one's stopping you from doing that either, are we? Your ears might be burning as a result. But no one else is saying anything to make you stand for the pledge. But you got to understand, and my kid was in a scout group, and they got to, it was near the end of the summer, and they burned the flags. If your flags are old and ratty, and there's there was a lot of flags that they burned. There is a deal that they read off that I had never heard of before. And I forgot what the whole ceremony is actually called. The Boy Scouts do it, and Trail Life does it too. My boy was in Trail Life. A little more Christian oriented than Boy Scouts was. The Trail Life is sort of what the Boy Scouts started off as before the Methodists just start going downhill, unfortunately. And my brother was a part of the Boy Scouts. Cub Scouts. He never was a Boy Scout. But he was in the Cub Scouts ages ago when we were tiny. But it was an interesting ceremony. That's something you might want to look up. I'm sure there's got to be some videos out there on YouTube about flag. It's a ceremony, and it's a proper way of doing it. They fold them in a certain way. They light them, and one person is, and they kind of swapped out with the kids to reading the information, because they go through each state and each star, and what each of those stars represents, and what each red bar and white bar represents. And the first flag they burn, they completely deconstruct, if I remember correctly. It's neat. It has meaning, and it gives more meaning and power to the states, because that was the original intent of this country, and that's what we've been fighting ever since. And that was what part of the Confederacy was kind of fighting, even though the issues at the time were higher stakes. In a travesty, one of the travesties of this country that, unlike other countries, we got rid of. Okay? That's something we should be proud of. That's something we should be able to put a notch in our belt and said, we got rid of this. And then if you watch something like, The Sound of Freedom, that should really get your gourd going and your blood boiling. But unfortunately, when that movie was in theaters, it took over Indiana Jones 5 big time. I did a little video on here way back then too. What was that, 2-3 years ago? And if you were born here and you have the benefit of the freedoms of this country, and the benefits of being able to get in your car gas or electric or diesel or whatever, to go wherever you blankety blank want, to do with blankety blank with who you want, go eat whatever blankety blank you want. You need to be grateful for that. Not many countries are like that. Right now, we don't have bread lines. We don't have food lines. That's kind of what Kamala was implying with her price gouging thing. Well, I forgot what she called it. It's not a good thing. That's how Russia started, kind of. That's socialism. That's socialism. That's not good. That's heavy regulations on prices in the markets. You may not, some people mistake capitalism for greed. They're not one and the same. If it wasn't for capitalism, we wouldn't have some of the companies we have today that are almost staples. They're gotten too big for their britches, I'll admit that. But capitalism spurs competition. Competition spurs employment. Employment and competition spurs creativity. Creativity spurs more business and new businesses and new ways of doing things. There's some people that want to refuse to see that, and when they see the word capitalism, all they can think of is greed. So what are you thinking now when Walgreens is closing, CVS is closing, Walmart's in some areas are closing, Red Robin closing, IHOP's closing, name your favorite restaurant is closing. Oh, why is this place closing? There's multiple reasons. Our country is in decline. Look up. There are images and videos of what's going on in Ohio and people interviewing the locals. It's not good. It's come to my state too. In Arab, Russellville, Tuscaloosa, Sylacauga, and 2 or 3 other cities that I can't remember right offhand. But most of them are northwest cities of Alabama. Were they vetted? Did we make sure they weren't carrying disease? That they weren't idiots? No, because this is yesteryear stuff. I'll agree there. But they were pretty much given a free ride on our dime. And whether you're Republican or Democrat, either way, that should be making you get ticked off. Right there. I can't believe I have friends, or a friend on Facebook that is, I'm willing to pay more taxes if this will happen. And I'm thinking, why do you want to pay more taxes? We're being taxed to death, regulated to death. Printing money as if it's water. It's destroying our economy. We're seeing more than just fast food restaurants now dying. We're seeing sit-down restaurants now dying. With that, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry I got a call. But this is a question you should be asking yourself, because we need to be asking more questions and going, well, that's a great idea. I'm glad I live in a sanctuary city. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's just let everybody over our borders. We need to start asking the right questions. What are these people's intent? Why are they here? How are they here? Why is there so many of them? Why were a third of the population of a town, excuse me, let me phrase it this way. Why did a small population of a town gain 30% more people almost overnight about 3 years ago in Ohio? 60,000 people population. Here's some 30,000 more people. Here you go. Here's your workers. Oh, your daughter's been waiting for a place in this apartment for months, and they're on a waiting list? Oh, sorry, we're going to give it to these people from outside the country at only $200 a month. They're going to get it first. Not even the veterans. This should be making you sick. I'll say this. I really got to go. But again, ask good questions. Think. Critically think. Why are these people here? Why are they coming over? Why is our own local governments, because the federal government has intervened and said, oh, we're giving you TPS. Here's a driver's license. Here's a EBT card. Here's where you're going to work. Oh, you're in Alabama? Let's let you work at Tyson Foods, etc., etc. We don't care about our own people. We care about you. We want your vote. Oh, by the way, you can register to vote over here also when you get your picture for your driver's license without taking a driver's test. As people are hit and killed by these people that have never driven a car before. What is their intention for being here? Is their allegiance to the United States? Are they going to pledge allegiance to the flag? Is their allegiance still to Haiti or Mexico or Venezuela or China or wherever? Who knows why they're here, what they're doing, how they got bused or flown for free with no ID, where in a country where the border is so open, every small town American city is now a border city. From Alabama to Arkansas to Utah to Ohio, even Kansas and Kentucky, from what I'm hearing. What are these people's intent? Declaration of Intention, I just read it, from like 1902. It may be archaic, but it was for my ancestor to sign to say, while I'm here, I do not pledge my life to an emperor or a king or a sovereignty or the country I came from. I'm not a traitor. I'm going to be an American citizen. I'm here. I'm going to love it because you're giving me freedom, because I have cut ties with them. These people aren't doing that. We may not have haven't had a declaration of intention in 100 years, since like 1925 or something. But these people have no intention of being a part of a melting pot of our country that we are. Luckily, our melting point has been bubbling lately. Why add to that? Why add to the fire where the politicians are enjoying seeing us divided for the money? Because there is money in dividing us. I'm not going to name names, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. And Trump ain't it. Let me give you a hint. And I'll just put it this, I'm going to be blunt. When Hillary Clinton was president for 8 years, I think she was pulling the strings. Not good old Bill. Hillary. Didn't she hit him with a phone one time when he got caught with the whole blue dress incident before they actually went through the court proceedings? I think I remember some of that. During those 8 years, it was like Mexicans or Hispanic people were being dropped in near and around affluent areas in certain cities in my state in the 90s. It was a sign of things to come. From an era of the 80s when it's like, oh, okay, you would have learned a little Russian or French or German or Spanish or this or that. Oh, we have a foreign exchange student. Oh, okay, cool. Let's do their language too. Whatever. It was diverse back then. The 90s, what did they push? Spanish. That's when they started taking the diversity out of learning extracurricular language in high school to Spanish only. And we started seeing an influx of South Americans and middle Americans to the States, to Alabama. Housing prices went down. There was some white flight. People started moving out. Certain areas were looking ratty. And there were these apartments, and that's where a lot of these people were living. There was a corner where you could drive up and get a couple of Mexicans, pay them cash under the table, so you didn't have to pay taxes. They're not having to pay taxes. To do construction work around town. Oh, that is great. No, you're taking jobs away from other people that might need benefits, that might be looking for work. That was in the 90s. There's a big correlation right there. This is a bigger operation than that, with Haitians and other people that we don't know that are here. Believe it or not. All you have to do is do a couple of searches. Google ain't going to help you, let me tell you. You can try to use YouTube. Go through pages and pages and pages and pages until you see finally something pertinent that you're looking for. It's not going to be on the top because YouTube's part of Google. Or go to Brave or somewhere else, or maybe even Rumble or Odyssey or BitChute or something to look up some of this stuff. Maybe even TikTok. Maybe X. I don't like X. It's hard to navigate in there. We'll see you next time. Another question. Where's your allegiance? If your allegiance is not to this country, if it's not to better yourself, better your family, better your career, looking for opportunities, etc., etc. We live in a country where it takes our own will and our own energy to do the choices that we want in life. Other people are not so lucky. Even if you're in an apartment with some possessions and food that you can get from Walmart, or you can go to Walmart for maybe $80 and have enough food for the week for a person of one. Well, that's a lot of money. You're living like a king. Some people would love to do that. Instead of eating whatever they find walking around. Oh, look at these geese at the park. Oh, that's what we used to eat back home. We're seeing a big culture explosion. This is not the country I grew up in. While people are mocking Trump, the memes are funny, I'll admit. Seeing pictures of armed cats and videos of cats in military outfits and Alf with Lucky in the bread and whatnot. Hey Willie, where's the cat? Oh, he killed me. You know, I used to do a decent Alf 30 years ago, but it's funny. But there's some truth in there. It took me a while. I finally saw the video or an image from that video of the cats being cooked from some months ago, earlier than the summer. Some people actually checked the geolocation and found that blue grill. And I'm like, in Ohio. I think it was in Dayton, Ohio or somewhere like that. Or Canton. It wasn't exactly in Springville. But the point is, the technicality of the city doesn't matter. What matters is that it could be happening. Yeah, it's fun to make fun of. But this is a cultural divide that is going to destroy our country. I got to give my hats off to at least the churches of Sylacauga that are reaching out to these people and learning Creole and helping the connect with some of the Haitians in my state and going, oh, look, they're here. They want to come worship with us. Yeah, come on in. They're complaining. They complain to the city council, but they're also welcoming them. They're helping them learn the language. They're helping us learn their language. You want to know something? I'm also hearing the Haitians kind of like Alabama. They like the they like the temperate here and climate, just like my great grandparents did. So maybe there's some good going on over there in East Alabama. With that, I'm way over time. Again, where's your allegiance?